thoughts here.
Hi. Yeah, at a baseline, I'm just kind of tired of this absolute limp doomerism that I'm hearing the very same second that Biden decided to drop out. He would have been a good candidate a couple of years ago when he was sentient. He isn't now. He just endorsed Kamala, and what we should do now is get every single talking point in order to bash the random, statistically probably mentally disabled MAGA Republican chatter that we end up dealing with. And it just, I don't know, it's insane to me that the orange that is running for president is responsible for a insurrection. His traitorous scum base is supporting him despite it, and we're here Briggs that people are going to call Kamala mixed or a DEI can. Nobody
Hey, who's
will
the
ever
Democratic
hold Trump
candidate
to.
right now?
I would hope it's going to be Kamala starting
Yeah,
tomorrow.
you would hope, but you don't know. And this is a problem here, right? Like, we should be getting behind whoever the nominee is, but we don't know. No one knows who the nominee is because we decided to jettison Biden because we all pissed our pants after that debate, and our spines vanished, and we flopped around, right? Like, oh no, what are we gonna do? And because of that panic that was contagious, caught fire, was pushed by Democratic, donor base, the elite podcaster class, and all these things, right? Pushed this narrative, and then Biden succumbed to this narrative. And now we're in a situation where I don't know who the nominee is, you don't know who the nominee is, no one knows who the nominee is, and we likely won't until the actual convention. It's Sunday. This is good for us. No, it's not. No, it's not. This is terrible. This is terrible. You know, we'll get to it. But and the reason why I'm very worried here, in his letter where he drops out, he does not explicitly hand off the nomination, hand the keys to Vice President Harris. Do you know what that means or what that implies? Again, based on the reporting, right? That was accurate. They said he would drop out today. That was correct. And the other reporting that went along with that, if that is also correct, we lose in November. We lose in November. I don't know what to do. That is, I don't know what to do, but we'll get to it. We will get... Oh, thank you, Rabid Wombat, for the resub. I really appreciate you. Movie starts in 15 minutes. I'm getting on a plane tonight, gang. I'm getting on a plane. It'll go to Florida at about 8:30 tonight, so I can't stream all night. I can stream now, though, and I need to stream now because I got a lot on my mind. I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I think we need to talk about this because this is, yeah, he's really dropping out. Here, let me set it up. I have the letter here. We're gonna read it together. I'm gonna wait for everyone to get in a little more. Here, I'll get to it right now. Let me see if I can't make this a little bigger. Make it just a smidge bigger so you guys can read it along with me. This is from his actual account, okay? It is verified. So, 𝙎𝙪, nice to see you. Thank you for the raid. So, this is verified information. Let's get to it. Let's read it. Let's just talk about it, okay? Who cares about a plane? Well, I'm getting on a plane, okay? I gotta go on vacation. I was supposed to go on vacation this week. I had vacation planned. Let's talk about this. Here we go. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we have made great progress as a nation. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors, and expanding affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We've provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic substances, passed the first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed the first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, and passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America has never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together, we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We've protected and preserved our democracy, and we've revitalized our strengthened our alliances around the world. It's been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it's been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all those who have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember that we are the United States of America. There's his signature. I probably should have scrolled down so you guys could read with me, but it is what it is. So, yeah. He officially announces that he is going to be stepping down as the nominee for the President of the United States. I don't know what happens next. I don't know what happens next. I don't know who my party's nominee is for November. I don't know if I can support that nominee because I don't know who it is. I don't know if I can advocate for that nominee because I don't know who it is. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do now, right? What am I supposed to do now as someone who wants to beat Trump? As someone who wants to protect democracy, as someone who wants my policies that I wanted, that Biden represented, that I voted for in the Pennsylvania primary, that I went there and I cast my vote. I'm mad at Joe Biden right now. I'm mad at him. I'm angry at him. It's disappointing. It's incredibly disappointing that he would give in, right, and step down. When, again, a CBS poll came out just today showing that most of the Democratic voters want him to remain the nominee. Most of them, 53%. It's not a huge amount, but it's most. It's a majority. I'm incredibly disappointed in this man. Incredibly disappointed in how my party has handled this. Incredibly disappointed in the people who pushed him out, who coerced him out of this. I'm making some assumptions because I haven't seen the reasoning behind this. I'm going to wait and withhold final judgment until I hear what he has to say. Maybe there is extenuating circumstances that no one knew about or that he hasn't told us about, and it's not caving into pressure by the party and pressure by party officials and pressure by, again, the moneyed donor class. I worry, though, that it is. I worry, though, that this is simply him caving to pressure by podcasters, donors, not the American people, right? Not the voters, but the pollsters and shit like that. And my God, if so, that's incredibly disappointing. Incredibly disappointing. Headless chicken. This ensures a Trump win. You understand that, right? Trump wins now. In almost every scenario, the path to beating him has becoming incredibly harder because of this. If you're okay with Trump winning because you got Biden out, just say so. Just say that's what you wanted all along. You're going to make a little more money now, right? You're going to make a little more money on your podcast. You're going to make a little more money because Trump, oh my God, he's good for business as a podcaster. He's good for business as an influencer. Ha ha ha. You're going to rake in some dough, buddy. It's going to be great. You're going to make them figures. Fuck democracy, right? Fuck those policies. Y'all going to get paid. Fuck off. Seriously, fuck off. Fuck off. Seriously. And that's why, again, this is why a lot of people wanted Biden to drop out, especially within this sphere, because it's better content. That's all it is. It's better content. Again, $2 from 2024 Gay Odyssey to say, Wick, big gay hugs. You were duped by dem insiders. Well, thank you for the hugs. I appreciate it. Yeah, the Republicans are excited now. The Republicans in my chat are grinning ear to ear. They fucked us. The Democratic, whoever was pushing him out has screwed us over in a major way. They've screwed us over in a major way. Running Joke says, I still think Dems will win. I don't. I think we lost. I think this is, we're going to look back at this, and this will be the moment that Trump secured the 2024 election. Because where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Who is the nominee? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Who would be my pick? At this point, me. At this point, if it's not Harris, and my God, Biden should have... Look, the second thing that I was very disappointed in Biden for doing is not explicitly making it clear that Kamala Harris is his pick as the new candidate, right? He should have literally just passed over the keys in that letter and said, I'm stepping down and Kamala Harris is the new nominee of the party. That's what he should have done. Or if he can't say it in those exact words because of whatever, right, he could have said, and I hope and pray that you will all nominate Kamala Harris as a successor because she was, again, my pick and who I'm giving my full-throated support and endorsement to. No, look, the DNC decides that, not Joe. I thought we had an election on this. I thought we voted. I thought I got to decide. That was what I was told. That's what I was told. I was told that we would have a process. There would be a primary. We would vote in that primary, and I would get a choice and a say in the matter. That's what I was told. I don't give a shit who fucking weirdos in the convention pick. I don't give a fuck. I didn't pick them. Not my choice. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. $10 from Aircraft Sparky. I'm not happy that Joe is dropping out. I preferred he had been 25th. I'm sure you mean the 25th Amendment. Congratulations to Democrats for subverting the national primaries. The true threat to our democracy, Democrats. The true threat to our democracy, Democrats. Sorry, that was really, really poorly written, buddy. But we got through it. Thank you for the $10. Wick, you tell us who to vote for, and the Canadians will still come down to back your guy or gal. Canadians, oh, they're the worst. Look, yeah, if it's not gonna be Harris as a nominee, it might as well be me. You might as well just vote for me. You might as well just vote for me. I'm just as qualified. I haven't thrown out any ballots. I haven't overturned the will of the people. I haven't done any of that, right? So I'm better than all these people pushing Biden out. You'll write in WhickTV? Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Ren says, ugh, we're in doomer mode. Just go on vacation, my brother. Yeah, I want to go on vacation. This ruined my vacation. I'm still going on vacation. I'm just going to be very sad during my vacation. I'm going to be very sad. I'm going to be very upset. I'm going to be very angry. I'm happy. I'm not happy. I'm the opposite of happy. This is not good. This is an issue for a lot of reasons. The lines of attack that are going to be open now, regardless who the nominee is, the lines of attack are wide open. They're writing their ads as they speak. $50 from Artemis Fowl to say as promised. Oh yeah, he promised to pay me $50 for something. Thank you for the $50. Appreciate you. So let me tell you what's going to be the line of attack, and it's going to be a very effective line of attack, and it's going to, unfortunately, because it has teeth, because it's just fucking true. You're going to have two images kind of juxtaposed in this ad. The narrator's voice will come on. They will show Trump right after the assassination with his fist bumped in the air. Says, when the party elites tried to get Trump off the ballot and subvert the will of the voter, right? They failed. They took a shot at him. They failed. Trump never backed down. And then they'll juxtapose to weeks of articles trying to push Biden out. Joe Biden and the Democrats caved. Who do you want in the president's seat when China comes pressuring us, when Putin comes to pressure us? Do you want someone who will cave like the Democrats? Or do you want someone who will stand strong for American values? That's going to be the ad. That's going to be the ad. And it's fucking over, right? Because yes. Yeah. They caved. They caved. Even though the majority, and I want to stress this, the majority of Democratic voters wanted Biden to be the nominee. A poll just released today shows this to be true. Multiple polls throughout the weeks after the debate showed this to be true. There was a couple that showed otherwise, but those were outliers. A majority of the polls showed anywhere between 50 to 70% of Democratic voters wanted Biden to remain as the nominee. But the podcasters knew better. Well, they're going to show them, right? They're going to show them. They fucked us. And you know what's going to happen when 2024 comes or November comes and whoever the nominee is loses? You know what's going to happen? They're going to keep their jobs. None of them are going to get fired. None of them are going to lose any prestige. None of them are. You know what they're going to say? They're so, well, Biden just waited too long. He should have done it sooner. They waited too long. He should have done it sooner. There won't be any mea culpas. There won't be any apologies. There won't be any introspection to see why they've made a mistake, right? Why they chose wrong. Straighter Editor says it's probably going to be Harris, and if you voted for the Biden-Harris ticket in the primary, then you voted for Harris. Is it? I hope so. Because if it's not, and if they do this open convention thing, again, the reporting that said he was going to drop out today also said that he would not endorse Harris as the candidate or as the nominee, which he didn't in his letter. Okay. And that there would be an open convention with about 3 to 4 contestants, including Harris. Oh my God. If that happens, it's done. It's over, right? It's over. Biden endorsed Kamala on Twitter just now. Can you show me the tweet? Can you link that tweet to me or DM it to me if tweets don't work? Okay, so assuming this is correct from Headless Chicken. Oh, he gave me the link. Good. Let's read it. My fellow Democrats, I have decided not to accept the nomination and focus all my energies on my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president. It's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Well, that's better. That's better. That's better. Will this be the nominee, though, is still an open question. Watch the people who were calling on Biden to drop out. Watch the Matthew Iglesias. Watch the pod Save America. Watch those people. See if they endorse Kamala. That will be telling. See if they endorse Kamala, if they get behind Kamala. Watch to see. I don't know, right? I can't predict the future. I don't got a crystal ball, right? But watch to see if this happens. If that doesn't happen, there's a few inferences we can make, right? Daria Rhymes says, I'm really curious if Cenk is going to get behind Kamala 100% now. We'll see, I guess. I don't think he is. That's my guess. 500 bits. If this is real, I just looked good for the director of the Millennium Project. If not, I'm blaming you. No, it's real. This is not April Fool's, right? This is not April 1st. This is not a scam. This is happening. We are living through this, okay? This is an unprecedented event. And I don't know, again, a lot will hinge on how this is handled in the coming weeks coming up to the convention. Is there a open convention? Is there an open convention where they vie for nominees? Is there a blitz primary, as some have suggested? Is there a simple coronation where everyone simply comes behind Kamala and crowns her and moves her forward? I don't know. Unprecedentedly stupid? Yes, this is all fucking stupid. This is stupid. Even this, right? It's better if that he's endorsed Harris. It's better, right? But it's still one of the stupidest moves I've ever seen. And I'm very disappointed. Yeah, I saw that tweet that you're linking me. Let's click on it. Yeah, this is a reporting on speculation for how a blitz primary would work. But again, we don't know if that's the route they're going. I just want to be clear, and I want to make sure everyone knows. No one knows what's happening now. No one knows. This is all going to have to be litigated, right? I don't think that, as AOC said during her podcast a couple days ago, there's no plan or consensus here going forward. There's no consensus for what happens next. This is all going to have to be litigated and fought over in real time, when what we should be doing is fighting against Trump. But we're not. We're going to have to litigate this. We're going to have to fight about how this is going to be handled. We're going to have to argue about this, and people who lose that argument are going to be sore. They're going to be butthurt about it, right? They're going to be angry about it. And instead of focusing on what we should be focusing on, we're going to be focusing on this. It's going to be a fucking problem. It's going to be a fucking problem. Headless Chicken says, we don't have to fight at all. It will all be settled at the convention. Ha 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 ha. That's probably the funniest thing I've heard all week. That's a joke. That's just a joke. Lost Zola says, if this happened 2 days ago, I'd be happy. AOC changed my mind. Yeah, AOC just basically told what everyone was saying behind closed doors, right? She just kind of made it clear. No one has a consensus on what happens next. There is no plan. We don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows. It's going to be litigated and fought over in real time. There's going to be power plays made, and it's going to be a shit show. Yeah, AOC won a lot of accolades in my mind, right? I'm still not 100% on board with AOC. She has some real problems with me with some of her policies and some of the things she's advocated for, but her behavior during all this has been exemplary, actually. She's done very well. She's done exactly what I wanted the mainstream Democrats to do, and I don't know why they didn't do it. Well, I have some suspicions as to why, but yeah. Let me look at my YouTube chat. $5 from, well, there's a lot of YouTube chats. Okay, let's get through it. $5 from 𝙎𝙪𝙗. Democrats, throw whatever sticks to the wall. Republicans, you know what sticks? Poop. Here's Trump. Thank you for the $5. $5 from Matt Honeybee. Real question for the Dems. Do you guys actually like Harris or do you just hate Trump more? Honest answers only. Harris wasn't my pick. I mean, she's my pick now because she's the only one that I voted for, right? Like, she was on the ticket. She's the only one that I could see that my vote isn't being disenfranchised over. And even then, it's not great. It's not the best. But yeah, she's the only one where a serious argument can be made that the Democrats didn't disenfranchise 14 million people. That's it. That's the only one where that argument can be made. Otherwise, yeah, the Republicans have a new talking point. They just disenfranchised 15 million voters. They didn't just try to disenfranchise it like the January 6th people did. They actually did. $5 from Anonymous Coward. What's the normies' take on this? The past few weeks were confusing in messaging. Sounds like a loss to me based on low confidence flip-flopping. Yeah, I'm not a normie, to be clear. I live around normies. I live with normies. But me, myself, I am not a normie. The people I've talked to in my area, which, to be clear, is a very red area, the people surrounding me are very pro-Trump. The few that were on the fence just will not vote for Harris. Or will not vote for anyone other than Biden. So they're probably going to be voting for Trump now. I haven't talked to them yet. I'll talk to them after this, right, and see what they have to say. But from my conversations beforehand, yeah, they're not. And I live in Pennsylvania, which is a state that actually matters. I don't live in California or New York or anything like that. I live in a state that's a battleground state. And again, one of the worries I've had about all this is because I've been talking to the people that live around me, and I know I have a general idea, at least the ones who are in my circle, who they will and will not vote for. Biden was a chance. I don't think Harris has a chance. I don't think any other. The only other person that a Pennsylvania fence sitter might vote for is Joe Shapiro. But again, then you have to get into the argument of you just disenfranchised my vote, and they did. So let's see. $5 from Aircraft Sparky. Kamala becomes the nominee. Out comes a record of enslaving prisoners to fight fires and ignoring their parole dates. I'm sure that they have a list of attacks that they will go down when it comes to Kamala. I don't know exactly what they are. I know one of the first things that they will be doing, if it turns out, because again, we don't know why Joe Biden stepped down. He hasn't elucidated us to why. We'll get to that. But what the narrative will be is that he stepped down because he was too old. And the first question that everyone's going to ask Kamala is, why did you hide that fact from the American people for years? The age issue doesn't go away. It just morphs. It morphs. But it's still there. It becomes an honesty issue. And it's still a pretty fucking effective attack. $20 from Artemis Fowl. I am happy Biden endorsed Kamala, since now that he has endorsed her, when the DNC picks someone else entirely as a nominee, the black female voters are going to lose their minds as the DNC steals what's rightfully hers. Well, thank you for the $20, and I'm worried about that. Yes, that is a concern that I have. Have fun in your echo chamber, headless chicken. Good luck. Oh. All right, let's see. Okay, people want in on this. They want to talk to me. They want to discuss with me. I'm not going to go too long, right? I do have a flight to catch tonight, but we'll talk a little bit. Hey, you're live, gang. Hi.
Oh, hey.
Hey. What are your thoughts?
How's it going?
I've been better.
Uh,
I'm not gonna lie. I've been better. I'm like
mute
when
your
people
stream.
say that I just want I can't stress enough. This is fucking disappointing. Like deeply disappointing and deeply upsetting. I am it's just yeah, it's just deeply upsetting. Go ahead.
I mean, I think I said this on a few streams, but I predicted that Biden would not be the nominee coming into this. I'm almost banking on Hillary Clinton just for the memes, because at this point it couldn't really get any worse for the DNC.
It's yeah, I don't I'm trying to not be doomer, right? I'm trying to think of ways. The only path I can see, the only path that lets me actually fucking support anyone in this is Harris. Because, again, I take my vote seriously. I have a red line, okay? This is the reason I'll never support Trump. I'll never support him. I'll never support anyone surrounding him, any of that. Is because in January 6th of 2021, they tried to throw away my vote. I voted in the election. I made a choice. My guy won. And they tried to throw away my vote. They used legalese. They used coercive force. They used all these methods to try to toss out my vote. And that's a red line for me. That's a really fucking big, strong red line for me. Okay? Primaries came along this time around. I voted in it. I cast my ballot for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Okay? We won, right? The primaries concluded. We got the plurality. We won every state. My guy was the presumptive nominee. And now, after that debate, a bunch of people tried to disenfranchise me. They attempted to disenfranchise me to throw out my vote. They didn't use a riot to do that. They didn't walk on the Capitol riot. They didn't do any of that. But they tried to use pressure and coercive force, withholding funds, op-eds, media blitzes, influence in order to disenfranchise my vote. They at least partially succeeded. Now, again, the only path where, again, I also voted for Harris. She was on the ticket too, right? So I also voted for Harris. So if Harris remains the nominee, I can, again, it's not perfect and it sucks and I hate that they did this, but I could be like, okay, if I did vote for Harris, still the nominee, I can still do this, right? I can still do this. I can hold my nose, right? And I can put my ballot in the box.
And then what happens when they don't pick Harris?
I don't know. I don't.
Do you
think
not
I
gonna
can
vote?
Support it. I think I stay home. Honestly.
Do you have an idea who it would be if it was not Harris?
I
you
have,
would like to see?
I have no idea.
There's only like maybe 2 or 3 with enough name recognition that they can actually run with. But the issue is that they all have baggage. That is why they didn't run in the first place. Newsom has too much issues with the whole homelessness, trash, garbage, and then cleaning up, what was it, San Francisco for Xi Jinping, and then went right back to allowing garbage and everything right afterwards. So that's going to be an easy dunk. So I don't think anybody's going to stick their necks out. I think they may offer up a sacrificial lamb to stymie the loss of seats in the House in Congress and down ballot. That's what I think is going to happen, because Harris is actually more disliked nationwide than Biden is.
I don't know. Again.
You're muted if you're talking.
Oh yeah, thanks. I agree with you. Yeah, definitely she seems a little dislikable.
Hey, well, that's the another issue. And I know people like to think we're past the point, but people still have an issue with women and African American leader. Oh, she's not even African American, really. Jamaican Indian. But the optics are there. You're gonna have a lot of the old 80-year-olds going out there going, "I'm not voting for that. I'll vote for Biden. I know Biden." But you're gonna have that portion of the Rust Belt and everybody staying home rather than voting for Harris.
Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, they're just I fear that they liked Biden because Biden stood up for them. He was one of them They felt he was part of their culture, right?
Mhm.
Whether they were right or wrong, right? They could support the guy. I don't know. I don't know if they'll do it for Harris. I just don't
Well,
know.
the issue is, can you point to anything really that Harris has done through this administration that is positively impacted people at the lower levels?
As a vice president, no, I haven't
I
looked
mean,
into it.
what were the things she was allotted to
She was
spearhead that she's accomplished?
she went to deal with immigration at the border.
When did she go?
That was years ago, right?
Well, it was not last year, but at the beginning of at the end of the year before.
Yeah.
And obviously nothing has been done about it. They wouldn't hang their hat on that thing when it's one of the largest issues of this election.
Yeah, Dario
That'd be suicide.
Rahman says, Rahim, I should say. I wonder if all the older voters Biden won over from Republicans are staying with another candidate. I don't know, right? Like again, most of your questions that you're going to ask me today, and what people are going to be asking me today, is what happens now. And here's the answer: I don't know. And this is a problem. No one knows.
So the only person that would likely know out of all of us, because she's probably watching, is Brianna Wu, because her PAC, does all of the pays for the advertising and campaigning stuff, somewhat. So she might have a better idea because they have a better gauge of the temperature of the room. But it's really, really not looking good.
Can I ask a more open-ended question? Because I'm feeling a lot of doomerism also, but trying to see if there's a path forward to not having Trump be president. So let's say, hypothetically, if you were a consultant for the Democrat Party, what would your recommendation for a path forward to?
This is what we need to do. We need to do it yesterday. We need to everyone who's been calling on Biden to drop out, all the House members, the senators, they need to put out a statement today or tomorrow at the latest saying we fully endorse Kamala Harris to be the next nominee for the Biden presidency. All this for the 2024 nomination. They all need to come and fall in line immediately and immediately start a positive campaign to drive her accomplishments legislatively and her plan legislatively. They need to tie her to Biden's accomplishments as well as her accomplishments when she was in California, right? They need a full court press. That's what needs to happen. That's the path forward. That's the next step if we want to actually win in this. If we want any chance, that's the best path forward. The best thing to do was to keep Biden. The next best thing to do is this. Again, will that happen though? That I honestly don't think so.
I think I have the answer to what they're going to do.
Okay, what do you think?
They're going to ditch Kamala Harris and go for Gretchen Whitmer because she is from one of the states that you need to actually win the election. And she is less known for having really terrible policies because, she's been elected, a few times now? I'm pretty sure she will pass the scrutiny, whereas Kamala Harris has too many issues with her origins of becoming into politics, with being the side girl of the mayor of San Francisco, is how she entered into politics, which will negate any accusations against Trump for being unfaithful or whatever. So there's too much baggage Kamala Harris has. Gretchen Whitmer has a lot less baggage because hardly anybody knows anything about her other than she's technically successfully ran Michigan and was almost the victim of a kidnapping. So there's a balancing act there between the assassination of Trump, the attempt on him, and the attempt on her. So it could cancel each other out.
$5 from Running Joke to say Biden coup was successful. Obama, Pelosi already knew who they want to be at the top of the ticket. No chance for Kamala. Biden endorsement is worth nothing. Again, we don't know, right? Again, I would be elated, or I would not elated because I would be less doomer if what I said happens and everyone coalesces around Kamala today. I don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
What? Any other questions for you? I do got to cycle a little bit, but because there's other people who want in. But what else?
I have one more question about that.
Yeah, please.
because I definitely agree. I'm curious. I guess it's not one person, but kind of all the voices that were telling Biden to drop out. I kind of got the vibe they also don't want Kamala on the ticket. I think AOC has kind of
Correct.
said something similar to me. So I'm curious, because I disagree with those people. I didn't think Biden dropping out was a good idea. From their perspective, who do they want to run in Biden's place? Do they have an idea?
There's no
Bernie.
consensus.
Bernie.
I
Bernie
mean, some of them,
2024.
yeah, they want Bernie,
Yeah.
but
They
not
want to keep that hope
everyone. Like
alive.
Iglesias doesn't want Bernie. I don't know who he wants. He might want Harris. But that's again. That's one of the reasons I was pushing against dropping Biden, because there was no consensus amongst the people who were looking to get Biden out on who would replace him. Cenk Uygur didn't want Harris, right? We had him on my show, and he's like, no, I don't think she should be coronated. I think there should be an open convention. There is a ton of there's almost as many different opinions as there are people who wanted Biden out. And that's one of the problems here, is that they are all going to decide to fight each other. And it's, instead of fighting Trump, we're going to be doing this for the next, until the convention, honestly.
Yeah. To the day of the convention, you're going to lose a lot of time trying to organize a consistent narrative that people can rally and tout the accomplishments of whoever the person is going to be. And by that time, Trump and his team are going to figure out who's going to be the next one up and have all that dono money that he hasn't used yet, because he's barely spent any money on the campaign trail. And he's going to start dumping the airways full of fucking attack ads.
Well, he doesn't even have to attack a specific target, right? He can just say, look at, like, they can't even run their fucking nomination. How are they going to run the country? They can't even run their convention. How are they going to run the country? They can't even figure out who they want to be in the hot seat, right? How are they going to run the country? And that's going to be the problem, right? Again, the lines of attack are effective and multitudinous, to use a big word that might not be real, but yeah. People overreacted to the debate. Yes, this has done far more damage than the debate ever has to our chances of winning in November.
I think the debate was, so here's the issue, right? Is it that they overreacted to the debate? The debate exposed what was really there, and they should have removed him a long time before that.
I don't buy that narrative, again, because of how he acted before the debate and after the debate. He was fine. He had a bad night. I don't buy that narrative, because that's not what I saw prior to, nor was it I saw after. What I did see after was everyone trying to throw him under the bus. Everyone trying to push him out. Not everyone, to be clear, but a loud portion of people.
I think the big issue is that the White House all of a sudden sprung as many leaks as the Trump presidency ever had all at once, and exposing the fact that they didn't have an actual official cabinet meeting of everybody since last year.
Yeah,
and everything is being highly scripted. Where they're talking about not showing him any bad news. He's terrible to work with. They're afraid of him. All of this stuff.
Half these leaks, honestly.
Sure, but then you got to go back to the Trump era. Like, why would somebody believe all those leaks but not these leaks?
I mean, you shouldn't have believed all the leaks.
Well, I mean, obviously people do.
It is what it is. They'll believe the doomerism. But thanks for calling in, gang. I'm going to cycle out a little bit. I might bring you all back in, depending. But yeah, I just want to get more opinions here. So
thanks, Wick. See you.
Hey, you guys are live.
Hey.
What are our thoughts here, ladies and gentlemen?
Oh, you don't want to see my game. You want to see me.
All the things to show us, that probably was the least problematic.
That's true. That's true. You know me.
Don't want to link your horse folder, but yeah. What are our thoughts? How are we feeling, gang?
I almost was like, okay, that signature looks funny, and then Wall Street Journal, and I was like, okay, yep, it is here. It is here. My guest did not believe it. He looked at that, and it was like, there's no letterhead at all. What the hell is going on? This does seem rushed. There's nothing on the website, or maybe the secrecy was just that tight that it was inner circle only. I want to talk us down from the crazy idea that this is unprecedented and is going to lead to complete chaos in the party. We've had convention fights. We've had a delegate determined, nominee before.
Yeah, back
thank
in
God
the
that
60s.
Well, yeah, but
Back
also
in the
I'm thankful
60s.
that super delegates are not a factor in the first round of voting. And I'm thankful for a couple of uncommitted delegates who may be able to influence, whatever else happens in the interim. That's like I'm hopeful for the process. That's all I gotta say.
Man, look, I hope you're right. I hope it goes smoothly. I hope I'm very wrong here. I really do. Gang, I hope I'm very, very fucking wrong. I hope that I'm like being stupid right now and that it all goes smooth as butter. I don't think I'm wrong.
It's how you process grief. I like to joke about, what the GOP is going to say about Kamala being mixed race and how, they're experts about who should work in the House or not. So that's how I process my grief a little inappropriately.
Maybe. Other guy, what's up? We can't
Hey,
hear you if
Vic,
you're
it's
talking.
2024 𝙎𝖎 Can you hear me?
Oh, hello. What are your thoughts?
I just want to say I really respect you and what you do, even though obviously our views are so far apart, and you defeated my Jan 6 arguments in about 30 seconds, or was it 40 seconds?
It was quickly, but go on.
Yeah, I was on the floor. I really respect your questioning of destiny. I didn't know anything about the situation. I turned that on, and it was so great to hear a voice of reason. This is my question for you, Wick. You're involved with this, what is it, progressive victory?
Mm-hmm.
You're in contact with elected Democrat officials. My question for you is, after the mourning period, maybe after the election, you're in the middle of these folks. What's your action plan for questioning them? Why did you hide it? Why was there an inner circle? Why does everyone come out against Biden? Oh, I knew about this back during D-Day. Well, why didn't you fucking say that, man?
So
if the president didn't recognize you at D-Day, I forgot which simp this was, why didn't you tell us back then? If I were you, I'd say, dude, you fucking hid this from us. So what's your action plan,
So
Wick?
let's not overstate the amount of connections I have. I'm not in the room with Democratic senators and congressmen. I'm just not. I'd love to get them on the show to talk to them specifically, right? But here's the issue. I don't think most of them know what to do at this point. I don't think anyone here knows what to do. I think this is, again, part of the problem, is that, like, I do get a check from Progressive Victory. If you think Progressive Victory knows what to do right now, you're wrong. I think there's going to be a fight about what we should do, right? Like, it's going to be a shit show up and down. So the question does become, right, why was this decision made? Biden is going to apparently speak to us later in the week to talk to us about why. We can guess, we can speculate. I don't know. There's going to be questions. If it was due to age, there are going to be questions is why, especially with Harris, why didn't you say anything beforehand? Why didn't anyone say anything beforehand? Is it because they didn't know? Because again, like looking at it, he looked fine. He looked old, but he didn't look specifically, anything other than just old. And that's fine. $20 from Doobie. What do you think it is about Trump that attracts people despite his glaring issues? People don't please don't deflect to his supporters being brainwashed or whatever. Many of them seem to understand that he has massive problems. So there's a couple things, Doobie. I think a lot of people just oppose the Democrats regardless, and they support Trump as an effective fighter against Democrats. A lot of them think that what we need right now is someone who is strong, someone who is confident, someone who projects strength, and they see Trump as being that. And some of them hold their nose because they don't like Trump, but they like that he got rid of Roe v. Wade, and they like that he appointed a lot of very conservative justices and judges. And so they'll support him in that. That's my guess, but yeah.
What percentage of those people are actually in a cult and don't know it? Or are
Well,
or
no, that's
know
the
that
part he
they're-
didn't want me to deflect to, right? But I mean, that's a portion of it. Is a lot of them are just they're just lost in the sauce, and they're a cult of personality. That's not all of them, but it's a portion.
Wick,
Some of them
can I
just
jump
wanna
out?
win.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, can I jump out with
Sure.
a question for the future and a question for the present?
Do it.
Present. I don't think you should discount the power you have to question these people about what happened. I don't think you should say, I don't know these elected officials. You're a voter and you're a veteran, or at least you served in the military or something. You have more power than you think, Wick.
Okay.
Think of yourself that way first, please.
Well, thank you.
You don't need to know Chuck Schumer. Like, talk to your local folks. Like, why didn't they resign or whatever? My second point is, what do you think about Gretchen Whitmer? I'm from the Midwest. Pennsylvania is essentially part of the Midwest, the western part.
It's a rust
This
belt.
election
Okay, it's a
needs
rust belt.
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Why wouldn't you choose Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan, where I'm from? I know a lot of independent voters, and they're kind of like, I'll go with that. Thanks so much, Wick. I'm sorry you're feeling bad today. I'm a huge fan. Take care.
Well, thank you, and have a great day. Okay, $5 from Matt Honeybee to answer Doobie. We disagree with Dems' policies, plain and simple. Yeah, that's a lot of it. Is they will vote for the not Democrat, right? They will vote for anyone who's not a Democrat, and that's just how it is. Here's the deal with the question here. What do I think of Whitmer? I don't know enough about Whitmer. I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not qualified to speak on Whitmer. I just not. I need to look. I hope to God I don't have to look into her right now, but I'm going to have to because she's a possibility. So I have to look, right? I have to research this and things like that. Again, we're going to be fighting about this till the convention, when what we should be fighting is Trump, and we're not going to be able to, and that sucks. Last thoughts from you, Soyato?
I guess I'll comment on Whitmer. The only thing I know of, I have some personal connections in Michigan, and I know that local politics are pretty dirty. So I'm hopeful, but I also, except for his apparent failures at transportation, Buttigieg is not so bad. He's been showing really good. I think we've seen people like his people ramp up his feistiness, his access to social media lately, and I think that internally some Democrats felt that this might be coming, but also it was not a coordinated decision, and that made me doubt the news. I think that it's probably a snap decision.
Look, again, this is a shit show from start to finish.
Right.
And it's gonna hurt. Does anyone think this doesn't hurt our chances in 2024? Even just the way this has been handled, right?
I think well if you had projected, okay, Joe Biden will make a decision this weekend on whether or not he stays or goes, and if you make that announcement, then you just invite more attention and you invite catastrophe if you decide to stay. And that's why this feels like it was a snap decision.
We'll see. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
See ya.
Okay, let's bring on... I lost count of the order. I apologize if I get the order wrong here. $20 from Matt Honeybee. Here, Wick, take more money. To be fair, if it goes both ways, most people don't vote for things they don't like. We just need to be more honest about ourselves. Whatever does happen, I'm ready with popcorn and red vines. Enjoy your vacay. Well, thank you. Yeah, it kind of ruins my vacation, but it is what it is. Hello, both of you. How are you? What are we feeling? What are we thinking?
Well, I personally think that it was more of the donors to Democratic PACs and such as that who decided to say they're not going to pay into Biden anymore. There's a New York Times article that you should read about that.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
They actually withheld $90 million from him.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's probably more because Pod Save America only has about 1 million people listening to it, which sounds like a lot of people, but yeah, I would think that the news pundits, even Jon Stewart and various other people would be more.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. More influential. Here's the deal, and this is where people get it twisted. The number of people watching you matters, but you know what matters more? Who watches you? That's what influence is. It's not that you have 1 million people watching you. It's that the decision makers that are in these rooms, do they watch you? Do they pay attention? Right? Because if they pay attention, it doesn't matter if you have like 10 viewers. If all 10 of them are people who are in these rooms, that has way more influence than the person that's talking to 1 million people, right? And so obviously having both is best, but I think that people overestimate the influence of just sheer raw numbers. I think that when it comes to Pod Save America, when it comes to Jon Stewart, when it comes to these people, the decision makers listen to these people, unfortunately, to the donors and stuff like that. They listen to it. I don't think you're wrong. I think that the donor decisions did influence this outcome, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so angry right now at, again, people who aren't Democratic. Like, they may have voted Democrat, but the Democratic voting base, 53% of them in the poll that was released today, wanted Biden to stay in.
I technically wanted Biden to stay in. I was concerned about him. I wouldn't say I was not concerned, but I did. He actually helped me out a lot as the resident poor of the WhickTV Discord. He exponentially expanded food stamps and people who are on Social Security got the largest COLA that they ever got the year before last. And I think things like that directly affect me are the things that I really am mainly concerned about. It's not that I don't care about anything else, because I do care a great deal about Palestine and everything.
Yeah.
But when I'm voting, I mainly vote for who's going to keep me in my home and
who's gonna
fed.
put food on your table. I get you.
Yes.
I want to hear from.
That's all I wanted to say, really.
Well, thank
but
you
I'll just shut up now. I wanted to say have a good vacation, though.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Lisa. Okay. It's been a while, Chris, but welcome back.
Going to call Kamala mixed or a DEI candidate? Like, of course they will. That's going to be the fucking day one ammunition. So what we need to get in order are the responses to that, okay? Her being mixed is like the epitome of the choice in the land of the free, okay? Where what can be is unburdened by what has been weak, okay? That's what we have to get in order. And I don't know, it annoys the shit out of me that, like, I've already heard people who have called on here insinuate that we should start shitting on Democrats for not coming out earlier, that Biden has been old as fuck, which is insane because, for starters, we know that he's old as fuck. He probably has dementia. Everyone with this... Biden being old as fuck is so obvious that Stevie Wonder would be able to notice it. Republicans have fallen in line behind a genuinely reprehensible individual, with every single one of the prominent ones endorsing him, and we are here, again, rhetorically fucking impotent, desperate for a drop of Viagra, holding our candidate to a standard that nobody will ever hold Trump to.
Hey, who's the Democratic candidate right now?
I would hope it's going to be Kamala starting
Yeah,
tomorrow.
you would hope, but you don't know. And this is a problem here, right? Like, we should be getting behind whoever the nominee is, but we don't know. No one knows who the nominee is because we decided to jettison Biden because we all got, we all pissed our pants after that debate, and our spines vanished, and we flopped around, right? Like, oh no, what are we going to do? And because of that panic that was contagious, caught fire, it was pushed by Democratic, like, donor base, the elite podcaster class, and all these things, right? pushed this narrative, and then Biden succumbed to this narrative. And now we're in a situation where I don't know who the nominee is. You don't know who the nominee is. No one knows who the nominee is. And we likely won't until the actual convention, because there will be a fight from now until then. We won't be worried about what the talking points are from the Republicans about whatever nominee we pick. We're going to be worried about who we're going to pick. And so for the next month, we're going to be arguing about that.
Sure, but it's not about just that week. Even earlier today, at the start, I think right before you started taking call-ins, or when the first pair was in, you were saying that if you would hope that the candidate is going to be Harris, and if it's not Harris, then you don't know if you're going to go out and vote. Can you name me a single potential Democrat who could be the candidate that you believe is going to do a worse job than Donald Trump in the office as of right now?
The issue would be I have a red line on disenfranchising my vote. And if it's not Harris, the Democratic Party has disenfranchised my primary vote. They've thrown it out. They have acted like January 6th, but without the riots. And I have a red fucking line on that. That cannot succeed. That will not succeed. And I will not allow it to succeed, because you do not get to, no one gets to throw out my vote. That's just
Don't you think that's like just a fucking spoonful childish?
Maybe, but it's my vote. So...
Well, Wick, nobody in here is going to fucking drag you in chains to vote for the candidate that I want. What I'm saying is that at the end of the day, if we are political pundits, at least to the small extent that we are on Twitch, we have our own audiences that we, espouse some fucking ideology to, then it just seems a little bit fucking retarded, I will say, to throw LGBT people under the bus, to throw women effectively under the bus, to throw a fucking
and that's why they shouldn't have thrown Biden under the bus and kept him in. This is the natural result of that, right? When you've decided that, hey, to stop the guy who tried to disenfranchise our vote from getting into office, we have to disenfranchise 14 million voters to keep him from office. I don't, at that point, I don't care, right? I just don't. I don't want people who think it's okay for any reason, to disenfranchise people's vote to be in office. I just don't.
You don't think that dementia could potentially be a fairly valid reason to at least to try and do that?
If after the debate he had come out and said, you know what, I'm deciding this of my own volition. I just can't do it. I thought I could, but I couldn't. That's not what happened. He explicitly, for weeks now, has been saying, no, I can do it. I'm not going to go out. You don't get to push me out. And there was a fight. And we know from reporting, right, that there was a huge fight about this. He didn't voluntarily do this. He was coerced into it. And that's a problem for me. And yes, I am mad at Biden for giving in too. I'm extremely angry at him. I'm extremely disappointed at him. Oh God, it's probably one of the worst decisions he's ever made. And he does blame for it. Right? But also the people who blame are the people who've been trying to disenfranchise my vote for the last few weeks. It's a problem, and I'm not okay with that.
I'm not asking you to be okay with that. I'm asking you to acknowledge that this election cycle, this one specifically, is pretty fucking out of the ordinary, and deciding to throw your vote out with a little stomp of your feet onto the ground because of this happening is straight up childish. Because it is, Wick.
What's childish is thinking oh, we can do whatever we like to your vote, and then, it's childish if you don't like that you're disenfranchised. Maybe. But, I mean, that's not a fucking winning argument, okay? We're not going to win like that, and this is a problem, right? I'm pretty fucking, I've voted blue all my life, literally all my life, right? All my life. I'm riding with Biden hard, okay? I've been riding with the Democratic candidates for a while, for longer than probably you've been alive. And again, if you think I'm the only one who is going to make this decision, right, who is looking at this and thinking, if it's not Harris, you've disenfranchised me? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's probably the stupidest, most retarded thing I've heard today. If you think that I'm the only one who's going to do that, and if you think we can still win after losing however many of those types of votes, I don't know what to tell you. So if you do want to beat Trump, if you wanted to actually beat and win, maybe you shouldn't have pissed off the primary voters, right? Maybe you shouldn't have disenfranchised 14 million people. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. But you had your polls, and you had your fucking podcast class and stuff, and you had your little fucking New York Times media post.
Don't make me be an owl. Who?
Matthew Iglesias, the New York Times editorial board. The donor class, I don't know what specific PAC they were for, right? But the donor class was like, unless Biden drops out, we're going to keep $90 million from the super PAC from supporting him. All those people, right? They've worked to disenfranchise my vote. Anyone advocating for Biden to drop out and Harris to not to be the nominee, right? For Harris to be replaced has been working for the past few weeks to disenfranchise my vote.
Yeah, sorry. Let me clarify, because I don't think that what I said quite came through as I was intending it to. When I'm saying who, I'm asking who the fuck are you talking to? Because no one in here has said that you're the only person disenfranchised. What I'm saying is that if this disenfranchisement makes you basically throw your vote away and let someone like Trump win, even if just on principle for you that you're not going to vote, that's childish. I'm not saying you're the only person doing it. I'm saying all of you who are doing this are childish
to protect democracy.
I'm sorry, you are aware of Trump January 6th insurrection, fucking, kind of like a little bit of a
disenfranchise people to
of a dictator wannabe.
We haven't protected democracy. It's like bombing for peace, right? Okay, it's fucking for virginity. Okay, I mean, like, you could do it, but it's not helping, and in fact, it's doing the opposite.
Yep. Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, like I keep saying to people in my chat whenever I'm on and I'm arguing this fucking just brain rot inducing topic, whatever you decide to do with your vote is your decision, sure. Right? I can't vote in America to begin with. I'm not American. I can't hold your hand.
A lot of non-Americans
at the end of the day,
pushing this, by the way. But fair enough.
Well, yeah, of course. Whatever happens in America tends to ripple into the rest of the world, and I'm literally bordering the country that's currently fucking fighting off a Russian invasion. So it is low-key important to me, which, like, if the person who's going to end up being a president of America is pro-Ukraine, or if he's a deluded fucking cunt who basically wants to give over half of the country to Russia. But that point notwithstanding, it's just, I don't know, Wick. I don't know. It's just, it's silly to me to throw your vote out over something like this.
Well, that's your thanks. Okay. Is there anything else from either of you before we cycle out?
I have one thing. In most elections, obviously not this one, but in most elections, the primary, when there's an incumbent in the office, it's merely a formality, and they never actually elect anybody who would go against the person who's an incumbent. That's all.
Well, there were people who were against Biden, right? Like, so when I went to Pennsylvania, there was not just Biden on the ticket. I think it was Dean Phillips, right? And you could write in whoever you'd like. So it wasn't just that.
And RFK, and but a lot of those people were like secondary candidates, and Cenk, he couldn't even literally really run for office, but he thought about it. I think he tried to get on the ballot.
Okay, but yeah, the next time that someone's coming into your house and trying to shoot you, I strongly suggest you don't shoot yourself first to prevent them from doing that. That would be retarded, right? So don't disenfranchise voters to do that. But until then, I guess I'll see you guys later.
Do I?
Anyway, $10 from 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖏. 𝕵𝖎𝖏𝙗𝙧𝙤. I'm going to pretend. The strongest argument against Trump is that he hurts democracy. Disenfranchising the entire voter base that WhickTV represents isn't just a threat against democracy, it's an actual attack. Yes! Yes! Yeah! They're not wrong! So here, look. Obviously, I do not want Trump to be president of the United States. I think it would be a disaster. That said, there are things I will not do to keep him out of office, right? I won't kill anyone, for example. I won't lie. I won't steal. I won't steal votes. I won't do any of that, right? There are lines we don't cross, even if failure to do so means Trump wins. And I think this is true for everyone. Everyone, obviously, this is an obvious thing, right? Everyone has lines that they just will not cross, because if they do, it's against their morals. It's a cure that's worse than the disease. And this is a problem here. If this is normalized, if we normalize disenfranchisement because we don't like the results, or we worry that the results are going to lead to a bad outcome, we justify disenfranchisement in a whole host of circumstances. A whole host of circumstances. There are certain things where we cannot give even a single inch, not 1 inch. Because if we do, we open a box that we know will no longer be able to close. And that is my concern about what people are advocating. People are advocating for us to burn the house down because we are worried about an arsonist who might burn our house down if we let him back in. It's fucking stupid. $2 from Artemis Fowl. Check messages. Mike Johnson says, okay, well, I mean, we can read this. This is from Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, who's a Republican, okay? At this unprecedented juncture in American history, we must be clear about what just happened. Democratic Party forced a Democrat nominee off the ballot just over 100 days before the election, having invalidated the votes of more than 14 million Americans who selected Joe Biden to be the Democratic nominee for president. A self-proclaimed party of democracy has proven exactly the opposite. The party's prospects are no better now with Vice President Kamala Harris, who co-owns the disastrous policy failures of the Biden administration. As second in command and a complete inept border czar, Harris has been a gleeful accomplice not only in the destruction of American sovereignty, security, and prosperity, but also the largest political cover-up in U.S. history. She has known for as long as anyone of his incapacity to serve. Regardless of the chaos in the current White House, our adversaries around the globe should be reminded that the U.S. Congress, the U.S. military, and the American people are fully prepared and committed to defend our interests, both at home and abroad. If Joe Biden is not fit to run for president, he's not fit to serve as president. He must resign the office immediately. November 5th cannot arrive soon enough. This is a mix of truth and lies. The idea, right, that Biden's policies have been a failure is just not true. And again, Harris not being an accomplice. And the idea that he isn't fit to serve as president is just not true. It's just not true. But the true part is, as I just said, we just lost any rhetorical advantage when it comes to, like, an argumentative advantage when it comes to January 6th. Yes, January 6th was infinitely worse. It was infinitely worse for a host of reasons. It was violent. It was pre-planned, where they actually committed fraud to do so. It was illegal on a number of levels. It was conspiracy, etc. Right? But at the core, why it was wrong of they tried to throw out our votes, at the core of it, the difference between what the Democrats, some of the people in the Democratic Party did and what the January 6ers did was scale, not of kind. Not a difference in kind, but it's the difference in scale. The January 6th one was far worse in scale and scope in a lot of ways, right? It dwarfed it. I don't get it twisted. It dwarfed it. But sucks. Hate it. Fucking hate it. I'm angry. Bring on some more people. Ah, you're both live. What do we got?
Hello.
Hi, you're live. Thoughts?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I kind of came on and I wanted to say something, but I feel like you kind of said everything, so I kind of wanted to debate the other.
You can repeat it if you like.
No, I wanted to debate the other person who was in here who was like, "Oh, you have to do whatever to save." I don't know. I think you're on point. It's like at some point, like what are you even fighting for, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can't destroy the thing you're fighting for in order to save it, right? Then it's already gone.
And that's the problem here is like, again, if Harris ends up being the nominee, I voted for Harris too. So I mean, fair. It's not perfect. It's not good, but it's a whole lot better. It's a whole lot better. And I can be like, okay, this is something I can principally support, right? I can principally support this. If it's not Harris, I can't. I just can't. I'll have to quit, right? I just can't. But if it's Harris, I can make that argument to myself, which is the one that matters. Because I don't think people understand how I operate. It is important to me that I be okay with myself when I'm by myself. What I feel about myself when I'm by myself, when no one's watching, when no one's looking, when it's just me in the mirror. I have to be able to sleep at night and look in that mirror and say, I've been honest to the best of my ability. I've been advocating for what I believe in and what I think will be better for everyone involved. I'm not a perfect man. I make mistakes. I've done things I'm not proud of. But in general, that is how I strive to live my life, in a way that I can look in the mirror every morning, every night before I go to sleep, and I can tell myself, I have strived to live up to the values that I find are best to get happiness, not only for me, but for everyone around me, for people to live their best lives. And one of the things that I have as a core fundamental principle is that of democracy, is that of everyone gets a voice, everyone should be heard, and we should not disenfranchise others. And that is my core concern with what Democrats did, right, in forcing Biden out. Again, we'll see who the nominee is. I hope it's Harris.
All right, here's a fun and depressing question. Okay, are you ready?
Go ahead.
How does it feel to live in a country where, like, this is possible, right? Like, because you're not, like, to my understanding, right? Like, you're not ever voting for a candidate, right? Like I believe 𝙇𝙤 has said many times that the states can basically, like, send whoever they want, like, as the nominee, right? Like for like the people who eventually nominate them, like they don't have to care about your vote, like, in principle, right? Like,
in principle, maybe. I'm not a constitutional scholar. I don't know exactly, but I know how it's been all my life, right? Is the person who wins the electoral college wins the vote, and by those rules, they are put into the presidency. When it comes to congressional, Senate races, again, whoever wins the most votes gets the seat. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any situation that hasn't resulted in, like, death, right? Like, we've had candidates that before they were sworn in or before they were even elected, they died, right? And fair enough. Like, there's got to be provisions for that. That happens. But this idea that people can use some legalese to subvert the will of the people, obviously, it could happen. It's possible.
Yeah, but, like, the Democratic Party, like, to my knowledge, like, they're never entitled to put forward whoever the candidate is people vote for, right? Like, it's just a party, and they can put whoever.
That's correct. I was going to say, on the subject of electors, you got it 100% correct, Daria.
Yeah.
That modern politics, we kind of shortcut this by having the slate of electors declare in advance who they intend to vote for. But at the end of the day, you're voting for a slate of electors, not for an actual candidate.
Yeah.
The same thing is true in a primary election. You're voting for the electors, not for the.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean.
But I mean, to what Wick just said a second ago, I think that's part of the reason that that's the case. Say what you will about the current situation, but if, like, a candidate died before you got to the convention, well, what are those people supposed to do? Literally vote for a corpse? You probably not.
Well, they have before, right? The person has died, and they voted for the person who died, right?
Not the electors.
Oh, not the electors. I mean, I'm talking about the people.
Yeah, that's happened a couple times, I think, but the one that I know off the top of my head was that John Ashcroft lost to the guy who died in a plane crash.
Sure. 𝙎𝙪𝖗𝖍𝖐 for $10 says, my vote just got thrown out after 16 years of advocating for this party. There's not a single conservative bone in my body. I feel like I have nowhere to go. Shit on by my own party. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people feel that way.
Can I pose you a question, Wick?
Go ahead.
Well, and I realize that like you're probably not feeling great today, and something that I've been trying to kind of
It sucks.
No, I know, but I know that you and I are already well aware of each other's positions on this before Biden's made his decision. And basically, I'm not here to like rub salt in any wounds or anything. But I am just wanted to pose this to you. You know, I've seen you getting very upset about how Democrats feel and how Democrats feel and how Democrats want this to go. And I wonder, do you think you can win the election with only Democrats?
Yes.
Because when you poll independents on whether or not they thought Biden should stay in the race, it's like 70+%. It's not even close.
So here's the thing. Depending on turnout, I mean, maybe. But realistically speaking, this is the problem with this whole narrative and why I worried. Even if Biden hadn't dropped out, I was very, very worried about the results of 2024, right? Because we've created a situation, a tension, in which there's going to be a lot of people who just feel like the process failed them.
Well, yeah, I understand that you feel disenfranchised, but
yes, I do.
I've mentioned this before. I used to live in Virginia, and in Virginia, everyone is registered as an independent. That's just how the state is. You can register with a party if you choose to, but when you register to vote, you just register to vote. And then you're allowed to pick up whichever ballot you want in the primary. You just can't take both. So people vote however they want to vote in that primary. I moved to a different state. I'm not allowed to vote in primaries anymore. So I also kind of feel a little disenfranchised because I was part of the drumbeat that was saying a year ago, hey, we should have a competitive primary. And a big part of the reason that people stayed out of that process is because the White House was signaling to them, you will be committing political suicide if you run against this president because he intends to run. That, like, I don't think that's fair to any of the other voters who wanted to see a real primary when you only give them options like Dean Phillips and Marianne Williamson who don't have political futures to protect.
If you're asking if the primary was... The primaries are never perfect is a problem, right? And this is something I heard in 2016, 2008. This is something I've heard since 2000 even. Like, there's a large portion of people who will say, I can't believe we have to choose between these people. Why don't you give us real options? But here's the thing is, when push comes to shove, is that if there was a large enough group of people who were advocating for another option, that other option would have been on the table. The reason we didn't have a primary was because there wasn't that.
You're saying this as though there wasn't an appetite. There was.
Not a big enough one.
An irrelevant appetite.
If you rewind the clock a year to when this conversation started, Biden was in significantly better shape than he appears to be in today. And so when he says, no, I'm fine, I'm sticking through this, you are then having to call his bluff and say, I think you're going to be in this condition in June, and this is going to wind up being a major problem for the party. You have to be willing to stake your reputation on calling out your own president. That is a really tall ask, and I certainly would have hoped that there would have been at least a couple of people in the same vein as Bernie Sanders in 2016, right? That certainly, even from the beginning, you would have called him a long shot, but he was somebody who had standing. He was a sitting senator. He had been a sitting senator for years and years, right? This isn't some political neophyte or some unheard of. He showed up and said, you know what? I will run against you, Miss Clinton. And it would have been really nice if we had somebody who did that this cycle, but they didn't.
$10 for Matt and Zero. They invalidate the will of the people, but we're supposed to feel that Trump assassination was just a coincidence. This is the most anti-democratic stuff I've seen. What an interesting week. What do you mean the Trump assassination was just a coincidence? Are you suggesting something here? Okay, conspiracy debunking time, okay? If you think that the Democratic Party or Biden or anyone hired that Crooks guy to take Trump out, I would ask you to present me some evidence. And if you can't present me some evidence, I would, again, list all the reasons that that's stupid as fuck. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. If you have evidence otherwise, please present it. But if you don't, why would that ever be a thing?
Why do you even bother with those people?
Hey, you paid me $10.
Who cares? Fair enough.
You skipped my super chat. Which one did I skip? I'm looking. Which one did I skip, Matt Honey? Thank you. Okay, $10 from Matt Honeybee. Sorry, I'll read this. I missed it. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you for keeping the same energy. It's why I support you despite political differences. You are what it means to truly care about the thing you talk about. Well, thank you. Like, look, you guys can accuse me of a lot of things, but if I tell you something, it's because I think it's true. It's because I believe in it. And I really do believe in... Look, I know that the primaries haven't always been decided by vote. I know that back in the 60s, we used to have conventions where the party heads would pick a nominee. I think those were... that was a worse time. That was worse than what we have now. For a whole host of reasons. It was less democratic than what we have now. I don't want to go back to that. I think it's a bad idea to go back to that. And the fact that we have gone back to that is a problem for me.
I actually think we actually disagree on why this is bad. Like, I think I want to run something by you because actually I don't think it's necessarily, or I guess I don't have a stake in the disenfranchisement. Obviously, you can vote, and you did, so that's not as close to me. But I think what I think is really scary is sort of the prospects of why I think this happened, right? Because I actually don't. Well, like you could say about like the donors and like the swing state, like the Democrats coming out and stuff like that. And yes, I think that's a reaction to what happened, right? In my head, right? Like those are reactions to what happened, and what actually happened is that Joe Biden, who is basically the most successful, most progressive president ever, had to step down because of social media and like online pundits and like basically not being able to be memed enough like to be president, right? Like it's a massive shift away from like actual politics and like actually like the issues mattering, like the record mattering, right? Like nothing matters. It's just the one debate where he couldn't speak
vibes,
as bigly.
Man. It's all
it's just vibes.
No,
Okay,
I agree with you.
I think
so the way that I feel about Biden Wick is just vibes. That's the answer.
I think so. I don't know what you feel,
no,
but based on the way you said that, I'll say that.
No, I'm getting aggressive with him because
I want to answer your question. No,
yeah, sorry,
but you are also not the people we're talking about right now, to be clear.
This is what is a little tough for me is that I keep hearing this. Well, we're not talking about you. We're just talking about, things that would substantively describe you. We don't.
No, I might be talking about you. I don't know what your
opinion
opinion is.
About you specifically.
I might be talking about you. No, I'll stand by it. I might be talking about you. Like, what is your?
I can't speak for Dario.
What is?
Okay,
sure.
I'll keep this brief because I'm not trying to twist any knives, and nobody needs to hear my whole history. Basically, I was a Biden booster earlier in the year. State of the Union was a really good one, in my opinion. It really kind of gave me a spirit booster. I've been deeply involved in politics as a hobby for probably 3 decades at this point. So none of this is like my first rodeo. Got to the debate and said, wow, we're fucked. There's no recovering from this. That is the kill shot right there.
But why? That's basically like you are describing exactly why I'm upset.
Because if you can have a performance that bad, then you are going to.
But why does the performance matter? Why does a
you like to let me answer
comedy? Why?
Talk over me?
Well, I mean, we can skip like.
I'm trying to.
Sure,
I
sure.
the debate itself was not the thing that kind of flipped me, if you will. And again, Wick can go back in his DMs and verify this.
You've been
I was
saying
saying
this
at the
for a
time,
long
like,
time before the debate.
a couple
so
weeks.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
immediate aftermath of the debate, I was saying this is scaring me because I've been trying to sell this guy, and I can't sell what I just saw last night. So we need to see some kind of recovery. I need something back in my bag of ammunition so that I can keep pushing this guy. And a week goes by and it's not happening, and a second week goes by and it's not happening, and the story's actually getting worse because instead of just picking a story and sticking with it, oh well, he had a cold, it was jet lag, Trump was talking loudly when the fucking video recording shows that he wasn't. It's 1,000 cuts. It is a death by 1,000 cuts. And over the course of these 3 weeks, I went from being a Biden booster to saying, not only is there no way I can sell this guy, I don't think I can vote for him either, because this is showing me that they had zero plan for what was the most obvious, first fucking thing you had to be prepared for. This was the obvious pitfall, and they fell in it on the first hurdle and couldn't get back out of it.
You guys want to hear my conspiracy theory? It's a conspiracy theory, to be clear, right? I think that for some, this was the plan. Wait for him to have a mistake like this, and then start leaking to the press. Start pushing people out. Remember those people who wrote that confidential letter, right? The anonymous letter back in the Israel-Palestine stuff, right? At the beginning of the Gaza war, which were condemning Biden for his handling of it, right? There's quite a few anonymous White House staffers, right? I think that they decided then that, okay, this guy needs to go, and they were waiting for an opportunity. Conspiracy theory. I'll cop to it. It's conspiracy theory. It's crazy. Tinfoil hat time, right? But that's
crazy because there's an obvious reason they decided they wanted to have a debate in June before either convention had taken place. Like this was orchestrated well in advance. I don't think it's a fringe opinion that the Biden campaign did this specifically so that if he had a meltdown, they would be able to use an off ramp. I feel like that was a common theory when it was first announced.
There's a lot of
this, they're going to get rid of him.
There's a lot of circumstantial evidence. Like, it's not something I'm pulling out of my ass here, right? But it is a conspiracy theory. But
okay, PB. So I'll let you explain, Ryan. And the reason why I wanted to cut you off is because I understood your argument. Like, I know where you're coming from, right? So I would say your argument is basically that
can I read
believe
this $20 super chat real quick before I forget?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. $20 from Artemis Fowl. To be fair, Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping was almost exclusively invented and funded by the FBI, which is why the defendants were ruled not guilty and the plea deals nullified. This dude's origins are too weird not to theorize. Well, thank you for the $20. But no, I think this is substantively different situations with the shooter. I think that speculating that it's a deep state thing is conspiratorial in nature and, frankly, unhelpful. Anyway, continue, please.
Okay, so and correct me if I'm wrong, trying to restate your argument. Your argument is that it's hard to market Biden when stuff like the debate happens, right? And when the follow-up doesn't inspire confidence. Yeah, it's harder to sell him.
Than that. It's a little more precise than that. You've got the general thrust of it. The sort of arrow through my heart is that I am, broadly speaking, the exact swing voter that everybody's trying to win every election.
And that's fine. And that's fine.
So basically, it's for me, as I'm out there on the campaign trail, it becomes a case of like, crap, he's losing me, and I'm a swing voter, and I'm trying to win other swing voters. How am I supposed to do that?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'll ask you now, since you felt very attacked by what I said, like, can you restate what my argument is and why I take offense to what happened, basically?
So I'm gonna have to try my best on this one, and I may fumble here because
I'm
not a big fan. Well, no, because I'm not a big fan of the term vibes in the first. In my opinion, that's like a throwaway buzzword that people use to dismiss other people's.
Sure.
So, given that that's the word you chose, I'm gonna do my best.
No, I'll stand by it. No, I just want to hear to make sure that we both understand each other. Because
Yeah, no,
I think
again, I dig it. I dig it. So I would say that what I read from what you were saying is that you're upset that the decision was made on the basis of swings in public opinion that aren't based on some kind of like factual, grounded, specific reason why somebody is concerned. They're panicking because everybody else is panicking.
yeah, I think that's the gist of it. So I guess if that's what you
So-
got, right?
so-
So
Is that unfair?
No. I'm saying I think that's the gist of it, right? So
Okay.
I think my issue is that I agree with what you're saying, right? I completely agree with what you're saying. It is harder to market Biden based on the debate performance, based on the issues with conveying his message, speaking about it right and right. But my issue is that I think that the fact that that matters to voters in this case, in this election, is I think the bigger issue. Right? Like I'm
don't think it
attacking
is,
the. Well, let me explain why.
Go ahead. I've got to follow up, but you first.
Sure,
You were
sure.
thinking.
Quickly, I do want to get to more people, and I do have a plane to
Sure.
catch tonight, so we have
Sure,
to
I'll
bar it
just-
out
I'll-
at some point, right?
Sure, I'll just leave you with my statement then, and this is my main issue, and then you can respond, BP. So I think this is the issue because this is for all intents and purposes, right? This is an election where one candidate literally tried to coup the American government, like did an insurrection, is trying to do way worse than that if elected, compared to one of the most successful progressive period candidates ever. Right. And what people actually care about, like what is moving voters, what people are listening to is how well they speak. Like what kind of performance they can dish up at a debate. And I think that is a disgrace to democracy. That is very bleak for the future. And it only convinces me that the next few elections are just going to be more of the same Twitter kind of shit, like people just performing in order to gain votes, and nobody's going to care about the issues way less than they did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Yeah.
That's fair. I would say I don't think it's about your ability to speak. I think it's that his performance in the debate is clear evidence of some cognitive decline or health decline. Maybe not cognitive is the right way to put it. Because no. I want to be fair. This could certainly
so I have
be
a tweet I got to read from Bill Clinton.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, more important. President Biden has capped his extraordinary career of service with a presidency that has lifted America out of an unprecedented pandemic, created millions of new jobs, rebuilt a battered economy, strengthened our democracy, and restored our standing in the world. By any measure, he has advanced our founders' charge to build a more perfect union in his own stated goal of restoring the soul of our nation. We join millions of Americans in thanking President Biden for all he has accomplished, standing up to America time and again, for America time and again, with his North Star always being what's best for the country. We are honored to join the president in endorsing Vice President Harris, and we'll do whatever we can to support her. We lived through many ups and downs, but nothing has made us more worried for our country than the threat posed by a second Trump term. He has promised to be a dictator on day one, and the recent ruling by his servile Supreme Court will only embolden him to further shred the Constitution. Now is the time to support Kamala Harris and fight with everything we've got to elect her. America's future depends on it. Okay, so if this continues to happen, see, this is a problem with this, is the Clintons were never pushing Biden out, right? They were, at least publicly, behind Biden and strongly behind Biden. I want to see what the people who are pushing Biden out want to say.
They very, very notably made one statement the day after the debate and then were radio silent for 3 Saying that they were big Biden supporters is kind of a stretch,
They
my
weren't
friend.
publicly pushing him out. I'm talking about the people who,
being silent
like the
for
House
3
members.
weeks is also
What
a
I'm
pretty
talking about is
strong
the House
signal.
members, the Senate members who publicly stated we want Biden gone. I want to see what they have to say.
They should resign.
Well, I've made a list of who they are, and I will be donated to their primary challengers. Frankly, but yeah, I want to see what they have to say. Do they endorse Harris? That's going to be the question for me.
All right. Well, if I may, I was going to give just one more thing, and then you can
Please.
kick us out. So I don't think it has to do with how they can speak. I think it was a clear evidence that Biden is showing his age. and that people start to have the question that they need to answer: how bad is it? How bad is it going to get? And when you can't answer that, you're leaving this big question dangling. When you're running on a platform of we're protecting democracy and people are saying, I feel like you're asking me to vote for an empty chair, and you don't have an answer for that, I think you're not just risking losing those people, you're risking losing any sense of credibility or integrity that you genuinely care about democracy. That when people have that question, it's perfectly fair if he was capable of pushing back on that and, forestalling and giving people their sense of confidence back. But when 3 weeks go by and people are continuing to ask the same questions and there are no answers, that is a bad sign. I think he made a good call, and I am 100% Team Mamala.
Okay.
Sure.
If,
Obviously,
just real quick before you go, PvP, if there's an open convention and Kamala doesn't get the nominee, what do you do?
If it's an open convention, I would need to see who it is, but the odds are good. I would probably vote for the Dem.
Okay. I will see both of you later.
Yeah. I think you should vote as well, Wick. Don't give up.
We'll see. You asked me a year ago if my vote would be in question, I would have laughed at you. Of course not. Trump's a menace, right? I don't like Trump at all. I'm not, to be clear, never voting for Trump. The question is, and it's a serious question now, who do I vote for? Why would I not vote? Who do I vote for? I'll vote for Kamala. Yeah, I'll vote for her. But if it's not Kamala, I don't know. It depends. Seems insane. Why is it insane? I have a red line, and I'll repeat this again for people who might not have heard it the first time. I have a red line. If you try to throw my vote away, if you try to oust and disenfranchise me, I don't support you. I voted in the 2024 primaries. I cast my ballot. Per the rules, my guy won. He was a presumptive nominee. If you try to overturn that and replace both him and Harris is someone I also voted for. She gets tagged along with that ticket, okay? If you try to replace both of those people, you are trying to disenfranchise my vote. And I refuse to support you. You don't get to disenfranchise my vote and then have me support you in any way, shape, or form. You just don't. That's a red line for me. I don't know if that's insane. Like, people call me insane and childish. It's just facts, right? If you try to disenfranchise my vote, you don't get my vote. Simple as. You don't get my support. In fact, I will donate to your primary challengers, right? I will donate to your primary challengers. And I don't have a lot of money, but I'll give a little. I'll give that $5, right? And I'll hope, right? I'll canvass against you. I will go and knock doors to make sure your primary challenger wins instead of you. That's what I will do, because you don't, under any circumstances, disenfranchise me. $5 from Artemis Fowl. What's the over-under that Biden even wrote the endorsement of Kamala and is not just being one of Jill's aides and did it instead? Look, I believe Biden supports Kamala Harris. I do. Okay, pull you in. Well, I don't know, right? You're not even in the waiting room here, Cypher. Let's bring a couple more people in. I don't got too much longer. 1,500 bits. Cheer up, bud. Here's 15 on the house. To give someone's primary challenger, let's focus on November together. We'll bring in a couple of people. Hey, you're both live.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Not good.
No, I understand. Wick, you know, man, I absolutely love you. I think you're an amazing creator. You're one of the authentic people, and I am troubled to see you upset by the events that have happened. And I'll make jokes, of course, about Kamala Harris if she's a candidate or whatnot. I think she's a poor candidate, but I think she's the right candidate for the Democrats because, as you said, you voted for her and Joe. So I'm with you there. I don't want this. I think that he was bullied into leaving, and
Well,
I just
obviously,
wanted,
yes. Obviously,
yeah,
they coerced him
and
into living. Yes.
I just want to say, man, look, dude, don't get upset about this. You're going to be fine. You this will all work out, okay? And I hope the absolute best for whoever they choose. I hope they don't win because I'm obviously going for the other side, but I still I hope nothing but the best for President Joe Biden. And if he is unable to run for the presidency, I wish that he would go ahead and resign as a president of the United States and allow Vice President Kamala Harris to move forward.
So I don't think that he's resigning. And again, he'll announce it later. He said he's going to give a speech on it later in the week. Fair enough. But the reason he's leaving isn't because he's unable. It's because people didn't think he could win, so they bullied him out. They coerced him out. And I think that is honestly shameful for everyone who was involved.
Well,
including Biden. Biden should not have caved to that. And the fact that he did disappoints me.
I agree with you on that point. I just think that it is interesting that the presumptive Democrat nominee, who is the incumbent president of the United States, is being pushed out of his position that the people, 18 million people, voted for in the primaries. That he allows himself to be pushed out for the betterment of the party and the country, as he put. Yeah, I think he said the country. He didn't mention the party. I'm not outraged. I think he should have been pushed out on the 25th. I don't believe that he holds the mental capacity in order to be an effective president, and it just is what it is. But I understand you're upset. You're upset at this. Fully support you, man. You're a real one. I love you, man.
Dank Brandon, what do you got?
What's up, man?
You're here. You're live.
Yeah. So I had heard you talking about you didn't really like. I didn't catch right off the bat what you were saying wasn't democratic or whatever. I figured it out that you were saying that if they go with somebody other than Kamala Harris, that you wouldn't agree with that. At this point, man, I really don't know. I mean, as far as I know, they can't really do anything with the money other than going with Kamala Harris. There may be some things that they can do to slide the money around before they need to. I kind of liked Jenk's idea that they move all of Biden's campaign funds into a super PAC, and then just whoever is the nominee, they start building their own war chest, and you've got a super PAC that can run their own ads while the nominee is running their ads.
No. Here's a problem. There's going to be a fight about this. I want Harris to be the nominee, but the fact that I can't tell you for sure that she will be is a problem right now. Right? And it's a problem because we're going to spend at least a couple weeks fighting about this amongst ourselves, figuring out what the best path forward is. Again, as I said earlier on the podcast, I don't know if you're here, but I said the only path that we have a chance of victory is if everyone, and I mean everyone, gets behind Harris today. They make statements today. We support Harris as the nominee. We are all going to get in line. We're all going to fall behind the line, and we are all going to push that forward. And that there are no serious challengers, no serious contentions, and that we just push this forward. Will that happen? I don't know. I don't think it will. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it will.
Was it in 1964?
No, I mean,
the
there's
last Democrat
1968
DNC
was when we had a Democratic contested convention, and it's the reason, to be clear, that the next cycle we changed how our conventions worked because it was so bad. It was so terrible for us, right? We changed how we did conventions because it was such a big disaster, okay?
And that was in Chicago, right?
I don't know the location off the top of my head.
Because I believe last time they were in Chicago, there was huge riots, and it was in the 60s. So it could be history repeating, unfortunately. I hope not. I hope there's no riots. I hope everything is perfectly safe at the DNC.
people are asking what happened to my vacation. My vacation, I'm getting on a plane at 8 o'clock tonight. But I had to stream. Elizabeth Warren is endorsing Harris. Good. If everyone falls in line, a lot of my fears and a lot of my concerns, they're still there, but they're less. But they have to fall in line. It has to happen. Thank Brandon. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish your thoughts here.
No, you're good. I kind of feel like there's, of course, going to be a lot of arguing over who's going to be next. I'm pretty sure that it's just going to wind up being Kamala, and then whoever, like, the majority of people are talking about they were wanting to run instead of her, she'll make her vice president running mate. I I don't really see, like, I don't see really too much reason to say that people can't argue or shouldn't argue over who's going to be the nominee. I think that like is the main thing that like, hell, what's the word that I'm looking for? That separates us from the Republican Party is that we're able to actually have these conversations. We're able to say when our nominee needs to go ahead and let somebody else go, because everybody knows Republicans aren't going to admit that Trump has cognitive difficulties.
We'll see how this works out. I don't know. I think the path is harder today than it was yesterday. Unfortunately, no matter what we do now, it is harder and is more likely that Trump will win today than it was yesterday. We'll see. Again, this is just July. Let's be clear. Who knows what happens between now and then? There could be some sort of earth-shattering event that throws it all off, right? Maybe something like, I don't know, right? We've already had an assassination attempt. Thank God that didn't happen. Well, that wasn't successful. Like, who knows? I don't have a crystal ball.
I particularly appreciate the content that you've been doing, speaking out against the political violence rhetoric.
Well, thank you.
It has been refreshing to see someone stand up in the face of your higher popularity compatriots who are funded by a political action committee, who has not denounced them or stepped away from them. I think it shows the content of character that you bring. This is why you have people from both the left and the right to follow you, Wick. There's people that actually want to hear your opinions. This is why your opinion is valid, because you're not just simply a partisan hack. You are partisan, but that's okay. At least you're not a hack. You're a real one. And look, everyone out there who hasn't heard of Wick, y'all really need to start paying attention.
If you guys want to make me feel better, a $10 super chat would do that.
Already did that, buddy.
I know. I appreciate you, buddy.
I suppose that means you want Trump to step down, though, right? Since the political violence rhetoric is just,
No,
right.
I want him to fight, and I want him to win.
Okay, so
I do have to
people making
cycle,
fun
gang.
of him getting shot at. All right, go ahead, man.
Sorry, gang. There's just
Take care, brother.
not enough time to get full debates from everyone. I'm on a clock here. Cypher Report, thank you for the 5 gift subs. I am on a clock here. I do have to go soon because I do have a flight tonight. I have mostly packed, thank goodness. Before this new dropped, I got my boarding pass. I'm good on that. But I do have to leave here. We'll probably close shop in about, thank you, Admiral Gibbs, for the gift sub. We'll probably close shop in about 30 minutes. $10 from Artist Foul. The Trump campaign just dropped several Kamala attack ads immediately. They were super ready for this, apparently. Yeah, I'm sure they were. Ilhan Omar has endorsed Kamala. So yeah, again, I want to see the people who were pushing Biden. Was Ilhan Omar? I don't think she said anything about Biden stepping aside. I could be wrong, but it's good to see some are rallying behind her. Let's hope this continues. We will see. Let me bring in a couple more people. Okay. Let's see. Boop. Boop. Okay, you both are live.
Wow, Wick.
Wow.
You waited just long enough that I sent you a super chat instead of asking my question.
$5. Can we just have Biden be vice president again?
Is that possible? Is that allowed?
I don't. Honest answer, I have no idea. I don't fucking know.
I was trying to look through it on Wikipedia. I just got back from work, so I haven't had time to like look up this stuff at all. I was trying to look it up on just like Wikipedia and stuff. It doesn't seem like there's any reason not to be allowed to do that. Because like one requirement is just that you can't like be a vice president if you've served for presidency for like 8 years. But I mean, Biden hasn't, so
I don't know. I don't know. I think that, like, honestly, I think that it's probably not going to happen. I think that they're probably going to have a new candidate as her vice president. Assuming, again, that she gets the nomination, which we don't know if she will, which is part of the problem I'm having.
Yeah. No, I mean, so I was listening, as I said, as I was driving back from work, and I heard you saying, starting to like rant about it, and I was just like, well, is it really that bad? Looking it up afterwards, oh my goodness, yeah, like this actually is pretty decently undemocratic, and like I was uncertain of your concerns at first, but I see what you mean now. Yeah, it's really concerning. It should definitely be Kamala. Well, I mean, it should be Biden. Let's be fair here. It's sad to see that. So I mean, I'm a younger voter. But it's sad to see that the best president I have ever had the opportunity of voting for, I don't get to vote for them again. That's just sad to see.
Look, again, it would be different had this been something of his own volition, right? If he had been like, okay, I can't do it. I'm sorry, I tried, but I can't do it. Right? But this, again, how this has played out, right, has just been disgraceful. I think it's the only word I can think of. It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
It's, again, people have been working overtime to throw my vote out, and I don't appreciate it.
Yeah. I will say, one point that I do still think I disagree with you a little bit on is that we would still not be able to point to January 6th as a bigger issue on Trump's side.
It's worse.
It's obviously worse.
But
it
makes it less of a winning issue when they could just say like, well, okay, no, they just we tried.
I think there's still
succeeded.
Some further differences though, is the thing. For this is the Democratic Party being somewhat corrupt. For January 6th, that's the exact person you are voting for doing that corruption, trying to do that. So, I mean, it's still clear to me that, like, one is way better than the other, but it also seems to almost be two different things entirely.
If you'll excuse the analogy, it's like one person stabbed 20 people and one person stabbed one. Like, they're both stabbers, right? They're both stabs, right? The 20 person is obviously worse on a whole lot of levels. 20 times worse, in fact. But the stab is still happening either way. $5 from another new account to say, Wick, here's some money. You're an ex-airman. Stop flying airlines and get your license to fly privately. Way more comfortable. Thank you for the $5. 500 bits. I apologize from the bottom of my heart for fighting to have a real candidate and validating your primary vote, Wick. Big loves. Well, thank you for the 500 bits. It does make me feel at least somewhat better, but it's not really. Not really.
Well,
okay.
I'm happy for you to swap me out with somebody else now. Okay. Safe flight, Wick.
Well, thank you. Stop going away, buddy. Stop it. I've dragged you in like 5 times.
I didn't go away. I'm. Oh, okay. I see what happened. I was hitting. Okay. My bad. All right, now I'm muted on the stream. My bad, Wick. I'm sorry. When I hit join, I thought that meant I had to join this stream and not going back to the damn backstage.
What do you got for us? What do you got?
Yeah, so I'm not doomer at all. I am actually, all my anxiety just dissipated because people were quick to endorse Kamala Harris. My concern was that Harris would be skipped because of donor issues. I don't think that's going to happen so much anymore. I also saw progressives endorsing her, and I think that's a good call because that means progressives are actually playing the game correctly finally. It only took them 8 years, but here we are. They're finally doing it, okay? But not only that, the winning ticket that we need right now is Harris-𝙬𝙬 2024. And that is going to be the best ticket that we can get on the Democratic side right now. And here's why I say that. All right.
Well, yeah, sell
Governor
me on this
Whitmer,
because I am very, very
Yep.
skeptical. I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm if we were having an open nomination where we were all voting, none of these people would get my vote. But carry on.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But we're not having an open nomination because of how late in the process that we are, and there isn't enough time to do that, right? And because of the PAC issues and all that stuff. Like what Chunk Uger said, is it Chunk or is it Chuck Uger showed? That is fine.
Jank.
It can go into a super. It can Chunk Uger. It can go into a super PAC, but that super PAC can't coordinate with the campaign, which means they don't know exactly what's going on from what the campaign's messaging is going to be. They have to kind of piggyback off of it, which gives it not enough space to actually do stuff. But that's neither here nor there. So the reason why I think it should be Harris Pete is because this is in my opinion, mostly a base election. And what does that mean? That means that the Democratic base has to be united. The fact that progressives are coming out in support of Harris is incredibly good, but that's going to make the party officials that are a bit more conservative hesitant to endorse this candidate and try to actually go into convention with a contested convention. Pete puts all that aside. Pete is, for better or worse, is kind of what you would want grown in a lab for a Democratic nominee for president coming from the Midwest. Former military, gay, very conservative, Christian, actually Christian, unlike some of these other sycophants that are in the Republican Party. All of that stuff buttresses him. And not only that, he has been one of the best messaging people from the Democratic side when it comes to messaging Midwestern values. And that means Rust Belt values. And that will shore up the Rust Belt wall, the blue wall that we need. He can pull in Michigan, he can pull in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. I'm not sure about, I think Ohio is a bit lost a little bit, but the fact that he can actually take J.D. Vance to task on a populist Midwestern values message against J.D. Vance, the fake populist, the person that was just pissed off that his family, being new money, wasn't invited to the elite club, while also shitting on everybody that is lower economic strata than him, can bring us to the White House. And that is why I'm urging everybody in this chat that is a liberal or Democrat to draft Mayor Pete for Harris Pete 2024.
So my concerns would be that why would someone who is hesitant, right, who's on the fence, who's like sitting there and like, I don't know if I'm going to vote for Trump or if I'm going to vote for whoever the Democratic Party nominee is, why would they vote for why wouldn't they just vote for Vance if those are their values?
Because Vance doesn't actually represent those values. He's a charlatan.
Well,
That's
I know
why.
that.
And
You
yes,
know that. I'm talking
we both
about
know
the
that, right?
indies.
The reason that
The
the independents
moderates.
don't know that is because nobody has been able to effectively counter message that
Am I
from
muted? Can you
our
guys not hear
side.
me? Hold on. Is my
You're
sound
a bit
on?
low.
Hello?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's much better. Thank you,
Okay.
Rick. I could still understand you, but you're a little low. So the reason I say that is because J.D. Vance is kind of an unknown figure outside of our circles. And when I say our circles, I mean political head circles. So independents don't really know him. They kind of know about his hillbilly elegy, and it was made into like a Hollywood movie. They kind of know that he says that he's for a lot of things that they might be for, like sticking up for the working man, being a bit more conservative culturally, which in the Midwest is necessary, sadly. But sadly from my end anyways, and all that stuff. But if we put somebody that's also Midwestern, that is also somewhat populist, that is also has those actual Christian values against him, all of that, in my opinion, will be exposed, and it will cause people to see the fake that he is. And Pete is very good at delivering this message. He's been on Fox News constantly hammering it. They've already been exposed to Pete. Pete is already a known entity. A lot of Republicans that are somewhat moderate already like him. They think he's a stand-up guy. It's the same reason they kind of like Bernie Sanders, because he says what he means what he says. Pete is the same way. Now, we can say on the our political stuff that maybe he's a little bit of a snake, quote unquote, because he, maneuvered in the Democratic Party circles and was like Medicare for all, but not really. And that kind of looks a little shitty to us. But to anybody else, it's like, oh no, he looked at the data and he came to the conclusion that Medicare for all wasn't a good idea, and it was better to do Medicare for those who want it. That's perfectly reasonable. And a lot of people in the Midwest, and you know this, Wick, you're in Pennsylvania, you're part of the Rust Belt. A lot of people in the Midwest were hesitant to support Medicare for all. But if they could buy into Medicare or Medicaid, they could buy into that cheaply and actually compete with them. That's a good system to them.
I'm warming up to it. I'll have to think about it a little more, right? I have to look at it and also other options here.
Sure.
Honestly, I don't know. Again, I don't like the idea that I'm going to, because again, I live in Pennsylvania.
Sure.
People around me, I just don't know if they're going to vote for Harris. And
yeah, I mean, that is fair, but here's the thing. So Harris, if they release the chains that they have on her, if she stops listening to the shitty advisors that she's been listening to for the last 4 years, and part of that is because of trying to win in a Democratic primary. Part of that's also being understudy to Biden. Like, you can't go off message with Biden. Everybody's got to be on the same message. So she has to be on the same page of him when it comes to things like crime and economics and stuff like that, because you can't show a divided house, right? If she's able to actually pivot back to being the smart on crime prosecutor that she was, and she's able to be like, look, we want to be merciful to people that make a mistake. We want to have these diversion programs. We want to have bail reform in a way that makes sense. If she can do all that while also saying, but we have to hammer people that break the law. We have to hammer people that kill other people. We have to hammer people that do violence against Trump on the debate stage, who encouraged January 6th. It's a wrap, buddy.
Don't know.
It's a wrap.
Here's my worry is that Trump will be just like, oh, hey, yeah, I talked to that guy that you threw in prison, right?
No, everybody's going to not believe that, though. That's the thing.
You don't think they'll believe it?
Nah, they might believe it, but I think that they're not going to be like, take it super seriously, because a lot of people, and especially in the Midwest, they're like, if you fuck up, you should do the crime. Don't do the crime. If you don't want the time, don't do the crime. That's like the typical saying, right? And that's how a lot of people are in the Midwest and the Bible
This is where
Belt.
you're losing me. No, they already believe it, right? Like, this isn't something they're like. This is one of the reasons that Harris had such a hard time in the 2020
He had a
primaries,
hard time.
and that's one of the reasons why she's going to have a hard time in places like Pennsylvania, because they see her as someone who's just going to be like terrible when it comes to prosecutions and things like that. She's from California.
No, what do you mean by terrible?
She's from California.
Because she's from California?
Yes.
They're going to punt to California. Okay, so when Harris was in, this is how they get counter. When she was prosecutor,
right? To be clear, that's why Newsom can't win. Newsom.
Oh, that's why I don't think Newsom should be on the ticket. Newsom. A lot of people were like, why can't Newsom be on there? That's horrible, right? But Harris being from California, while it is a detriment, the fact that she tried to guide California in a reasonable way when it comes to prosecuting on crimes is going to be to her benefit. She just has to go back to that message. And one other thing before I go, because I do have to go fairly soon, because I'm supposed to be playing D&D with some friends. The reason why I don't think it should be Shapiro or Whitmer or any other kind of governor.
Pennsylvania would vote for Shapiro. Like,
they would.
You would lock it up.
Yeah. You would lock it up for sure. But the reason I don't think it should be those two people is for more of a long-term strategic standpoint. And I'm saying that because we want these strong governors that are very popular in their states, that are having issues of keeping keeping Republicans out of doing really fucked up shit, and also guiding Democrats in a more little bit moderate way. We need them to finish out their terms. Whitmer doesn't. Her term doesn't end until 2027. I think Shapiro's is up. Can be reelected similarly, right? He can be reelected in 2027.
I don't know off the top of my head.
He just won though, right? In 2020 or 2022.
It's very recently, yes.
Yeah. So he's got 3 or 4 years left, and then he's not locked to one term. So we want we want him to finish his governorship. At least I do.
He's been a great governor, and I think he'll be continue to be a great governor.
Exactly.
I don't know. We'll see. Let me read these super chats real quick. $5 from Artem Sal. To be clear, Trump was in the lead already, even with January 6th narrative. Now your party just muddled the water. Dems need to make up ground, not lose it. And $5 more from Artem Sal. Pete is the poster child for the government abandoning East Palestine after weeks and not providing aid, plus $7 billion for 6 Chardon stations. Obviously, there's going to be a tax on Pete Buttigieg. I think that no candidate is free from sin.
But I mean, that's more of the EPA's doing. Anyways, did somebody say we muddied the waters with the assassination attempt? Is that what they just said?
No, with the January 6th attempt and the disenfranchisement of Democratic Party voters. That did muddy the waters. It did.
I don't think this disenfranchise. I don't know. I see a lot of people.
It is.
No,
though.
I know.
That's what it is. Like just by definition.
I know. I'm saying like I don't personally see it that way because for me personally, and I know I'm the odd one out here, and I hope other people end up joining me on this though. Like I think that the party should be stronger, and that means they should be able to guide who they want to elect. I think that the way that we run primaries is really bad. Brother. I know it's not. I know it's not a winning message, but I that's where I'm at personally. I understand where people are coming from. I just think that if we went to more of a European style party system, things would be better. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, thanks for.
But I'll go ahead and go. I'm going ahead and drop.
And
Wick.
good
Thank
luck
you.
at Dungeons and Dragons. I will see you later.
Thanks.
Okay. I got time for one more set of callers, gang. Before I do that though, we are in a situation where anyone who's telling you they know what's going to happen next is lying to you. Anyone telling you that they know for certain what is going to happen next when it comes to the nomination process is simply lying to you. No one knows. No one knows. Will it be Harris? There's a lot of Democrats that are lining up behind her, but will that actually happen? I don't know yet. You don't know yet. No one knows yet. Will there be substantive challenges to Harris? There might be. I don't know that. You don't know that. We don't know that. The uncertainty. What happens if let's say we do. Let's say everyone gets behind Harris. She's a presumptive nominee. No questions asked. She picks a great VP that everyone seems to fall behind with, right? There's no squabbling there. And we have a solid ticket, okay? Polling comes out, and the polls are worse. Donors, independent funding from donors dries up. What do we do? Do we replace him again? Do we replace her? Do we push her out? What do we do? Wick DMs. Okay, let's read this. We can all read this together. Well, let's watch it together, actually. Let's watch the Kamala Harris ad.
Sick of this? Well, think about this. He's a world leader in temper tantrums. She never loses her cool. She prosecuted sex predators. He is one.
Grab him by the...
She shut down for-profit colleges that swindled Americans. He was a for-profit college.
At Trump University, we teach success.
Literally. He's owned by the big banks. She's the attorney general who beat the biggest banks in America and forced them to pay homeowners $18 billion. He's tearing us apart. She'll bring us together. This is Trump. And in every possible way, this is the anti-Trump. So if that's what you're looking for in your next president, there's really only one. Kamala.
What are we thinking? Good ad? Strong? What do you think? $5. Reminder, you need to understand independence, not people who are voting blue no matter who. You are not the unbiased party. Bring in Gibbs. Well, Gibbs is also not the unbiased party, to be clear. So I'm seeing a lot of Democrats think that this ad's good. I think the ad's good. I like the ad. You weren't going to try. Look, you don't have to win me over when it comes to anti-Trump, though, right? Like you don't have to win me over. I'm anti-Trump already. Is this persuasive to people who didn't know if they were going to vote? I don't know. Brew Crow says ads good for your base, is bad for undecideds. The Naughty Sandman says anti-Trump, they never learn. Toby One Kenobi says ad had money and sex in it. Best ad. Well, thank you. Triloza says this dude is a mouth breather. Don't even waste your time. LOL. Are you talking about Admiral Gibbs? Are you calling Admiral Gibbs a mouth breather? Maybe. Principles Before Politics says I prosecuted sex predators. He is one. Is a pretty powerful slogan. I don't know. Like, obviously I like it, but you're not having to convince me, gang. Artemis Fowl says the ad is basically just Orange Man bad. Let's bring on... Hi, you're live, both of you.
Hey.
What do you got for us?
Can I go first?
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
Yeah. Wick, I heavily disagree with your stance here. Like, why are you holding your own vote in such... Give me a second, please. Sorry, I had echo on my own. Fix it. Okay, why are you holding your vote, your personal vote, in such high in such high esteem? Like, it doesn't really matter.
I disagree. I think my vote matters. I think my voice matters.
Mhm.
I would hold my, and perhaps this is selfish, but my voice matters more than your voice to me. It just does. It's mine. Does that make sense?
I mean, you can compare one vote to another like that. It's fine, but like at the end of the day, it seems like you're kind of like doing the same mistake as the people who are like, "Oh, I refuse to vote for Biden because he voted for the Iraq War," or "Oh, I've refused to vote for the Democrat candidate over someone who's going to like have literal fascism come into power because they're not the candidate I like." Like they value the votes too.
Hold on. How are you going to say literal fascism whenever we literally had?
Just to be clear, I also live in Pennsylvania. My vote matters more than anyone's who lives in California. Just directly. You understand that, correct?
Yeah, I understand the electoral college works. Which is why I like the whole principled stance you're taking about like democracy. It doesn't make sense because like we don't really live in a democracy in any meaningful sense of the word. Not even as far as like republics go. Like it's an archaic system that made sense in like the 1700s.
Sure. Look, I'm all for the dissolution of
and
the
like in the modern
Electoral
day, it's just
College.
disenfranchisement.
No,
I mean,
I'm all for the dissolution of the Electoral College. You don't have to convince me.
That's
but here's the
okay,
thing:
cool.
these are the rules that we have agreed to play by. It would be not okay to, after the election happens, right? After the process is done, and as per the rules that we stated out, we choose a presumptive nominee, a presumptive winner for the general election, right? It would be not okay to go back retroactively and change those rules because we didn't like the outcome. You'd agree? That would be wrong?
I don't feel like that's what's going on here. Like a candidate is allowed to drop out.
Again, had he done so from his own volition without everyone trying to force him out, then I might have a different stance.
Yeah,
but it's clear.
Hold on,
that for
let me jump in on this.
Everyone has forced him out. They've forced him out. They absolutely did pressure him out.
I want to co-sign this. This is absolutely. I think it's funny that people are saying that Biden bros are the same as the toxic Bernie bros. Whenever both of these are clear examples, which is ironic that the party that talks about one side being fascist uses not democracy, not like representative republicanism, none of that. What they do is they force Biden out, and now they're going to choose the candidate for their people and throw out all these millions of people that voted. Right? Like I know that people are like, oh, well, he didn't really have a real primary where he would get to the. These people still took the time to go and vote and throw their vote in for Biden. All these people votes have been thrown out. Biden clearly didn't want to step down. That's what fascists do. Fascists sit here and go and use not the democratic process to put somebody else in power as their choice. And I don't know how you can sit here with a straight face and sit here and go, oh, the Trump and them, they're going to start fascism when the Democrats are actually using fascist tactics to put their candidates in power, like now.
Okay, there's a one big problem with that. If Biden cannot resist the media pressure to step down and he steps down anyway, that just shows he's unfit to lead.
Oh, well, I mean, so are you gonna, so you say he's unfit to lead, so you want him to resign completely from the presidency today then?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
Well, at least now you're consistent. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like honestly, I think it would actually improve Kamala's chances if like she was the one
you cut
calling
out
all the shots, and then she could show her own responsibility and then decide, oh, I apologize, my internet connection is not the best, so if I cut out, that is totally mine and not yours.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Basically, if yeah, probably. If Kamala was to be the president right now, she would be in a better position to like show how she could better effectively lead. She'd be able to like, you know, call the shots, run things her way, not have to like deal with like all the baggage that Biden had with him, for better or for worse. Yeah, 100%. I think Biden should resign because like he's not fit to be president in what, like how many months away are we? Like 6.
Oh, you're doing it again.
7 months, however
we're
long it
getting
is.
half
Why
of
is he
what
fit to
you
be president
say.
now? And like, yeah.
And so it's
Oh,
really,
dang,
yeah,
that sucks.
It's really hard.
Basically, if Biden feels like he cannot run for another term, I am not confident that he can continue to run the country as present state, and I believe he should resign. And I think this would give Kamala an opportunity to lead and show.
I don't know if I agree with this. Like, I want to talk about this ad for a second, right? Her biggest criticism has been her years as the DA, right? Like the smoking weed and while locking people that were doing weed away and all this stuff. Like, I don't know that you're gonna be able to sit here and talk about like Trump. Like, this is what happened with the ad. I think it's very good for your base. I think it's very bad for undecideds, right? Because all the info she flung at Trump right there in that ad is basically all stuff we already heard about Trump. Has been a thing for the last however long he's been running from the 2016, right? We've already heard all these insults before, and then she's going to use the same reuse insults. What's happens is people have not gone full-fledged in Kamala because she was a VP candidate. Just wait until they start digging into her DA stuff, and all these different cases pop up where she put a guy for weed away, and then a quote with her smoking weed comes out. Like, it's going to be very hypocritical. She's going to lose a lot of people, a lot of minority votes, like wholesale. I think she's going to lose a lot of independents. I think this is maybe absolutely the best case scenario for the Republicans. I know Republicans were like, "Oh, we're going to easily dominate Biden in the election." I think we were. I think it's pretty clear he's not fit the rule, like y'all are saying. But like whenever we look at Kamala, like, oh man, now you have somebody everybody on the Republican side can rally against. Like this is I could not think of a better candidate for the Republicans and like people that lead center right to go, holy shit, it can't be that person. Like the only person maybe worse would be like Ilhan Omar. Like that's the only person I can think of in my head that would rally Republicans and center righties to go out in bigger droves than currently. And then I think you're going to see a lot of Dems that feel similar to Wick, where they feel like their vote was stolen, which is how Republicans have felt since 2020. I feel like you're going to have a lot of people that are going to relate
Here's
to
the
this.
difference. Your vote wasn't stolen. Mine was. Mine actually got stolen. Yours is just
the thing is in the hypothetical in which in which Kamala does not become the presidential nominee and instead someone else becomes a nominee. As far as I'm concerned, this is all part of the rules and processes that we have. And also on top of that, the rules and processes we have are not really anything in of themselves to be valued because they don't really enfranchise the people. So I'm not sure why like one's vote being stolen even matters at this point in a system that already like disenfranchises us.
Yeah, but people don't see it that way.
Hold
Like
on.
what they see
Can
is a
we-
DEI
can we-
candidate
can we
being
just
fucking forced upon them.
highlight that statement. Can we highlight that statement?
Sure.
I don't think that someone's vote being stolen even matters at this point.
That's what Republicans have been
That's
rallying
a
against under Trump.
that's not a winning message. That's not going to rally anyone to your cause, man. I don't care if your vote got thrown out. I got my way. Is not something I can support. It's just not.
Oh, I think the situation is utterly hopeless. So anything I'm saying now that might negatively impact something is not a concern of mine. I'm also nobody, so like it's not like it's going to matter if like some random person on Discord speaks their mind, it'll offend someone. Like if that happens,
No, it's good that you speak your mind. I value knowing what people actually think. So I do appreciate that. I'm not putting that against you, right?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
There's one other point.
One other point briefly, because I do have to go in a second.
Yeah, I was just gonna like bounce because like I think I got that main point across. Personally, I think that just automatically going with Kamala I think that's a mistake. Like, if people are going to feel disenfranchised, have a snap kind of election sort of thing, do anything. But like, if we're just going
France
to
did it.
ride or die with, if we're going to ride or die with Kamala, I think that's just, we're picking like the worst possible of all the
Okay.
possible
Final
contenders.
thoughts from you.
The people who could replace Biden are Kamala, Whitmer.
You keep cutting out, buddy. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I am so sorry.
It
Yeah.
happens. We're just gonna go to
Yeah,
Gibbs for
that's
closing.
fine.
Yeah, we're just
very,
gonna
very
give...
quick. Very quickly, if I cut out, just move me over. It's fine. The only three candidates that are viable are Kamala, Whitmer, and Newsom. I think Whitmer and Newsom should go ahead. You can. You can.
Okay, well, thank you for calling in. Gibbs, last statement. And then...
Yeah, last statement. So this is really interesting, and this is actually something you said, and I find this wildly interesting, and that it's almost a shoes on the other foot. You said that I have a conspiracy theory, and that is that they forced them out, and they've been planning this for a while. That has been a conspiracy theory on the right for, I don't know, for a year, maybe two now. Like, I mean, it has been maybe longer, actually, that like Biden was going to be forced out, Kamala was going to step in for a while. And it's interesting now to see people on the left sitting here saying the same thing after for I don't know how long, but I cannot tell you how many times when someone said this on the right, people said, oh, y'all are conspiracy theorists, y'all don't know. And then you just sat here and did this, said the exact same thing we have been saying for 6 months to 2 years, and and hey, doesn't seem so crazy now, does it?
You are always going to be more crazy than I am. I mean, like, you wore a bulletproof vest the last time we were on because you were worried about the Dems getting
You gotta watch the Apaches,
so...
bro. They're coming for us. I don't know if they'll save
I'm gonna
me.
let you guys go. Okay. I have to go in about 5 minutes here. I'm gonna do some last minute things, and I'm hungry, and I want to eat before I get on that plane, and I want to have a chance for it to process before I get on the plane. I don't want to use the airplane restrooms. That's gross. Final thoughts for you guys. I'll say this to kind of wrap it up. I am incredibly disappointed in my party. I'm incredibly disappointed in my candidate. I don't think Biden should have caved to this pressure. I'm incredibly disappointed in the country right now. And I don't know what I'm going to do going forward. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know. And, sucks. It sucks. I will be having some ice cream actually after this. I'm going to go and I'm going to eat some ice cream. I have some mint chocolate chip ice cream, and I'm going to eat it. I'm going to go to Florida. I'm going to see my parents. I'm going to spend time with them. Damn, yeah. I don't know what to tell you. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Legends Rain says, just have a good time, Wick. If you have a good vacation, I hope so too. I hope so too. And gang, last chance for you to give me some vacation money. So if you want to throw some subs my way, throw some bits my way, throw some super chats my way, now's the time. And here's the deal, gang. Like, I will never lie to you. I will never tell you something. I will never say I believe something that I don't believe. I will never advocate for something that I don't believe in. I just won't do that. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again, right? I'm not gonna deceive you. I'm not gonna push something I don't believe in. I'm not gonna sell something I don't believe in. So, and at this point, right now, I don't know what to advocate for because I don't know what's going to happen.